Welcome back. Well, game one is in the books. If you're Toronto, you can look at this one and say, you know what, we got blown out in game one last year against Tampa Bay. We can bounce back for game two, and we'll see if they do. But for Boston, huge victory in this one tonight. Absolutely huge. Samsonov versus Swayman in this one. There was no Nylander and no McMahon for the Leafs. And the lack of Nylander out there absolutely had an effect on Toronto's attack, as did the loss of McMahon. McMahon's been quite good. So the Leafs had the early edge. And that's the weird part with this, is they had the early edge. And I honestly thought Toronto played a decent game. So Nyes has a shot that's saved. The Bruins failed to clear. Pastrnak has a rush chance that's blocked. McCabe has a chance that's saved. The rebound's blocked. The shots are 4-0, 2 minutes into the game in favor of Toronto. Just what you want. You get all that pressure in Boston. You're keeping the fans out of it. But at 2:26 on their first shot, Johnny Beecher scores. It was a 2-on-1 rush. It was a cross-ice pass and buried. Boquist and Maroon with the assist. So Pat Maroon in his first playoff game with the Bruins, he gets an assist. And so it's 1-0 Boston on their first shot. Frederick then has a net feed this block. Things get pushed in a hole by Samsonov. I stopped even writing that down at one point in the game because it was just almost every whistle. Bruins forechecking pretty well. The Bruins end up drawing a power play. Heinen fires one wide. Things get pushy again on a hole by Samsonov. The Leafs clear. The Bruins set up. Marchand has a shot this block. There's a post on a slot shot for Coyle. Puck's cleared out. It's killed off. Toronto allows one shot during that power play. So no harm, no foul on that Boston power play. Shots are 5-4 Toronto, 8.5 minutes in. There's a near miss for Matthews. Bruins rush. Pressed by Boston halfway through the period. A huge hit by Maroon on Riley draws some cheers. So, Maroon's going to be popular with Boston fans because he knows how to hit. He's a big dude. And, you put a Bruins jersey on him and you go, yeah, that looks about right. And Maroon's one of those guys. Leafs press, they're kept to the outside. Reeves misses one wide from the slot. Matthews has a wraparound chance that's held. Lindholm then had a shot that was held. It felt like Samsonov had bounced back from allowing a goal on that first shot, which I don't think he had any chance on anyways. That was a defensive miscue as well. I think it was Reeves that kind of threw the whole thing off there that led to that rush. At any rate, post and out for McAvoy off of a face-off win. Coyle to Marchand near miss. Marchand has a chance that's saved and held. There's some punching on a hole by Swayman, and this is where I write down, pushy on most whistles. And then the Bruins get a power play out of one with 4:32 left. They cycle. Pastrnak fires one wide. Puck's cleared out. Heinen has a shot that's saved. There's a crossbar for Zacha, so the post's got to work out tonight. Puck's cleared out. It's cleared out again to kill it. 2 shots for the power play, but no goals. Then there's a dog pile at the Leafs net with 2:01 left, and there were a lot of near misses by Boston here. And again, with a 1-goal lead, you kind of want that insurance goal if you're Boston. And if you're Toronto, you're glad that none of these pucks are going in. Net feed to Bertuzzi near miss. Matthews in the closing seconds has a chance that's held with 10.7 seconds left. We get 2 minutes of 4-on-4 because there's some because of some pushing on a whistle. There was penalty being called, and basically you even it up and make it 4-on-4, which I know some people aren't fans of. And then part of the reason being that then a penalty's called on the Bruins at the horn, which makes it 1 minute and 50 seconds of 4-on-3, and a 4-on-3 power play is more dangerous than a 5-on-4. So the Leafs start with that 4-on-3 power play. There's a near miss for Tavares. Puck's cleared out. Marner has a shot that's saved. The rebound's held. Matthews fires one wide. The next chance is saved. There's a shorthanded rush by Coyle that helps kill it off. 2 shots for Toronto during that power play. Yarncroke and Robertson are then denied. The Leafs had some momentum. Bruins couldn't bury one with Samsonov down. We get a post for Matthews with Swayman completely caught out of the net. Matthews was on a sharp angle. I don't think he could have scored from there anyways, and he didn't have anywhere else to put the puck. Shots are 5-0 Toronto at 5 minutes. Felt a lot like the first. Toronto's getting chances. They're getting shots. Swayman's, making the saves, and in that one case, the post bails him out. Well, DeBrusk has a turnover chance that's defended, and then at 5:47, past a partial screen from the right circle, Carlos scores from DeBrusk. So now it's 2-0 Boston. Leafs press to respond. They're kept to the outside. Things get pushy on a hole by Samsonov. Geeky to Frederick gets picked off. Teams exchange rushes. And again, a lot of pushing almost every whistle. The shots were 10-2 for Toronto at 9 minutes. Toronto controlled a lot of this game, just not getting any opportunities to score on Swayman that Swayman couldn't save and hold on to. Grzelcyk has a rush chance that's held. Both teams defending well on rushes. There were a lot of rushes in that second period, and none of them were going in the net. Leafs press with 8.5 minutes left. More pressure by the Leafs with 6.5 minutes left.
And then there's an offensive zone penalty by Matthews that ends up putting that to a rest. No pressure there. So the Bruins cycle early on. Puck's cleared out. The Bruins then set up. They cycle again. And DeBrusk from a very similar spot, just above that right circle. DeBrusk scores the power play marker, so almost the same spot as the Carlo goal. McAvoy and Marchand with the assists at 15:02. So maybe the Bruins, now it might be coincidence. We'll see if they shoot from that same spot if Samsonov's in there in game 2. But it's now 3-0, and it felt like maybe they got a book here. So Leafs look to respond, but with 4:22 left, the Bruins go back to the power play. The Bruins cycle, the Leafs clear. Pastrnak has a shot that's blockered aside. It's cleared out, and then with 5 seconds left in the power play, up until then, the Leafs had a really good penalty kill, but it sags late, and DeBrusk gets a goal again from Marchand and McAvoy at 17:34, and it's another power play marker. So the same 3 guys combined, just in a different order. DeBrusk finishing it off both times. DeBrusk with his first career 3-point playoff game. So that one was tipped in close, and suddenly it's 4-0 Boston. Matthews nearly answers with 1:54 left. The Leafs get a power play. There's an early clear. The Leafs cycle. It's cleared again. Riley has a slap shot. That's blocked and cleared. There's a shorthanded rush by Izaka, and a crossbar for DeBrusk, shorthanded, which if that had gone in, A, it would have been a hat trick, and B, it might have blown the lid off of Boston's arena there. But it's 4-0 Boston after 2. So third period, Tavares is denied on a fast break after those last seconds of the Bruins penalty come to an end. And then at 1:39, that was a nice little press by Toronto that sets this up. Kampf buries one from the side of the net. Reeves and Benoit with the assists. So those are your 3 scorers for Toronto tonight. It's odd, isn't it? So the Leafs press for another. More pressure by the Leafs. Benoit ends up hitting a post, so he was close. A lot of posts tonight for both teams. Bruins finally clear it without icing it. They had iced it, I think, twice at that point, so I was glad that they cleared it without icing it. The first 5 minutes, though, were almost all Toronto. Like, it was almost entirely played in the Boston end, and it felt like if they'd got that second goal, who knows. But, yeah, there's a near miss for Geekie then as the Bruins press. Geekie's next chance is blocked. The Bruins draw a power play. There's an early clear by the Leafs, and again, there's a shorthanded rush by Holmberg that gets defended. Zacha has a shot that's blocked and cleared. The power play's killed off. 1 shot on net. Beecher has a rush that's defended. Holmberg has a one-timer that's held. The shots are 8-2 for the Leafs with 8 minutes left. So again, the Leafs, it felt like were just outplaying Boston, just not able to solve Swayman often enough tonight. Bertuzzi has a tip shot that's held. The Leafs press with 6 minutes left with 4:48 left. Brandon Carlo with a delay of game penalty. It just goes over. It just did not quite touch the glass, and it goes over. So the Leafs come out with that power play. There's an early clear. There's another. With 3:15 left, they pull the goalie for 6-on-4, but they still don't really get it set up. Really good kill by Boston. No panic there. And then at 17:52 on a turnover, Frederick hits the empty net. Pastrnak with the assist. And your final score in this one's 5-1 for Boston. They lead the series 1-0. Like I said, last year Toronto lost, I think it was 7-3 in the first game against Florida. So this is not territory they're unfamiliar with, but it's Boston. And you got to wonder if there's like something psychological when it comes to Boston. We'll see as this series goes along. But the shots on net tonight, 12-11 Boston in the first, 13-9 Toronto in the second, 12-3 Toronto in the third. They outshoot Boston 36-24. I know they had more offensive zone time than Boston did tonight too. Power plays, Toronto 0 for 3, Boston 2 for 5. Hits, both teams had 50 hits. So this isn't a soft game for either team. This was a pretty hard-hitting game for both. Samsonov saves 19 out of 23 at one end. Swayman, 35 saves on 36 shots. And, of course, we get the big goalie hug between him and Ullmark after. And I was glad Sportsnet showed the goalie hug because, man, it's such a nice tradition. Be an absolute shame if they do trade Ullmark in the offseason because I love that tandem. And then the question becomes one of, so you just stay with Swayman for game 2? I think you have to. I think you have to stay with Swayman for game 2. Let him roll with it until there's a result that you're not happy with, or maybe he needs a night off. But for Toronto, I think the question then becomes: do you stay with Samsonov for game 2, or do you try throwing in Wall? It's tough, and so Toronto does need the big saves, those game-breaking saves. They didn't get them tonight. I don't know how many of these that Samsonov was supposed to save. There were a couple that maybe, but either way, Boston gets the win tonight. And it's important because I didn't feel like Boston had their A game for stretches, but they don't give up the goals. They get the goals when they need them, and they got the win. They're ahead. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Thank you guys so much for all your support as always. I will talk to you again soon.